For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 19th edition of the Saratoga 2021 Talking Horses. He is the Big A, Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Serling. Welcome to Saratoga as we close out week number 4. I was telling Anthony as I was coming in, a woman asked me if I had any information for her, and I said, well, about to do the show, tune in, and she thought maybe there was some private information. There's none, I promise.
It's amazing.
You have any private information you want to share?
No.
Personal? Non-personal, horse-related?
No, I think I'm good.
You're good?
We got a cool gift this morning.
We did, I know.
So, Jen Reichert, wife of one of my best friends, Pat, made us some. Apparently, the possible violence of getting a puck thrown at my head this week.
I got to tell you, this might be worse, Anthony.
So it would be worse, but if you can bring this up.
I'm trying to pull this out of my temple.
So these are basically, here's a stabileism right here. You're a sick individual, which is accurate. Let's get one for Andy.
Okay, that'll work.
This is the one that Andy, I think, would be most known for. There was a golden rail that day. And there's 8 of them, 4 each. And Jen's the best.
Touched.
Jen made me some keychains with my Nadine, my first race call and stuff. So she's a wonderful young woman. She puts up with Pat on a regular basis. And we both thank you. And I will we'll
awesome.
come by and see you.
We'll
come out to Belmont Park when we get back down south. I know Jen can't get up for the summer. But when we come back to Belmont, you come out one day and we'll give you the 25-cent tour.
We usually just want cash, but in this particular case, we'll take the gifts.
You can keep the cash down.
Speaking of cash, take your cash and head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, we will match up to $200 of your initial deposit. Use the promo code SPA200. Become a member of Naira Bets and support racing in New York. What do we got today? We got the 10,000 pick 60. You got to play both Del Mar and Saratoga. And if you hit either one, you will split among anyone else that hits it, which will probably be you alone, 4,000. If you manage to hit both of them, in addition to your winnings, you'll get an additional 6,000, or you'll split an additional 6,000 with anyone that should be as clever as you are. You have to opt in, but that's through Naira Bets on Sundays. The low roller handicapping contest every Thursday, every Sunday, $40 buy-in, $30 live money, $10 prize pool. Go see Ray and or Jay by the 4-Star Dave. Fun way to play the races today and get involved. Low roller contest, always a good time. Somebody I know couldn't handicap his way out of a paper bag, won like $800 the other day. So you should take him on. He's got to be easy money for the rest of the meet. Anyhow, Saratoga Live, Sunday, August 8th, 1 to 1:30 on FS2, and the rest of the day till 6:30 on FS1. And I kid. He's actually a very good guy and a good handicapper, clearly.
Yes.
I still think you can beat him.
I don't know about his handicapping prowess, but he is a good guy.
Anyhow, we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Race number 1, I think we agree. We'll take a look at Shaker Shack's race 2 back. Last time this horse ran the dirt in the New York Stallion Series. I don't know. Just seems like this was back in April. She was an improving horse. No reason not to try the New York Stallion Series on the turf the next time. And she actually ran fine in there. I thought she actually ran pretty well, all things considered. And she just seems like a very logical horse. I guess the only question you have is, why dropping in for $32,000?
Well, it's funny you should ask that question, Andy, because
I think it's Roddy Valenti wanting to win a race.
I believe I have a two-ply answer. This filly was entered main track only.
Two-ply.
Filly was entered main track only in the Statue of Liberty the other day that stayed on the turf. I don't think the mile is something she's going to want to do. So they've earned $173,000 with this homebred. And if she were to win and get claimed today, you could tack on another 65. So you're talking about 240,000 with a home bet.
Wow, that was really fast how you did that.
I mean, what else are you supposed to do? Put her in. The way they claim horses around here, she's probably going somewhere else today.
You're correct on all of that. And Roddy Valenti wants to win
races
in Saratoga, and it's understandable. This horse is still worth more than $32,000 based on its PPs. And I think that all of the things you said are true. But we usually say these things, and they're not incorrect. But there's also a horse who's dropping in for $32,000. It's worth more than $32,000. So
see, I don't know if I necessarily agree that she's worth
lose
that
all the
much.
time.
No.
And we do the same.
I don't know if she's worth that much more because if you take the Stallion Series money off her card, she's a starter allowance filly, and maybe she's worth 40. So I think it's a little difficult.
What's the purse of the Stallion Series races at the end of the year? Don't they have a big race, or are those for 2-year-olds?
I think they're for 2-year-olds. I think the 3-year-old races end up here. That's what I'm trying to say. I think they run out of.
You may be right.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but
you could be making a great point.
Yeah, exactly. So, at some point you have to
still though,
get out while the getting's good.
To be fair, don't you feel like she could do a little more? I guess she has.
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't she still have a condition left?
She has. She has one New York bred condition left. Yes, she does.
I don't know. I agree with all the stuff you said, and I think Roddy probably is looking at it that way. That would make sense.
When you add in you want to win at Saratoga, I wouldn't be
the homebred. I get it.
Anywhere near as suspicious as I normally would be with a horse like this.
I'm not saying I'm overly suspicious, but there's still a horse that on paper appears to be worth more than $32,000. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
I don't disagree with anything you said. In fact, everything you said is absolutely accurate. I just think, and I picked the horse. Gives me a little cause for pause.
Okay.
I don't want any part of Chloe Rose. I'll show you a stat with her. I know Mike Maker's on Fuego. She's a last time was the time horse for my money. I'm not saying she can't win here. She found the right field last time, and she was a good bet if you were smart enough to have her last time. I've got Tom Amos second here going Synth the Dirt with Spun d'Etat, who I just thought might be the second best horse in the race. I don't have your picks. There you are. Oh, you don't like the 5?
No, I don't like her today.
Really? Can we bet a lunch? We're down to like 81, right? No, yeah, 79.
We could do one.
We're down to 79. I'll make it.
We could do 4. We could do 4 over 5.
Okay, I'll take 5 over 4. What do you have against Spun?
I don't like her drop. Because I didn't think her race that time last out was that bad. Now I know it was at Arlington, but
really
they're more than cutting her at half.
Yeah, I think it's the right drop.
Okay.
To be honest with you, but okay. All right. We disagree about the 4 and 5, but agree on the 2. I didn't really see anybody else I was overly thrilled with. I guess the 3 Seascape's a little interesting. Robertino Diodoro with a remarkable win off the claim yesterday in the second. Was it a second race?
Yeah, Fort Peck.
Jeez, that horse ran.
Yeah.
Race number 2. So you're going to play against the Chad Brown-Klarovich entry, including the Frankel purchase from Tattersall. Really?
I got a little buzz on the Jonathan Thomas first of Schuylerville, and I figured...
Couldn't they at least spell it right?
I would imagine that there was another Schuylerville. I did not look that up, but I would imagine that was a pretty popular name, given its proximity to Saratoga.
The town next to Saratoga.
Yeah, so you get a little...
I'm not sure you just made a great point.
Maybe there's a Schuyler involved in the ownership here, and they went and they a little play on words.
The pedigree on this horse?
Saratoga. Out of an unraced dam. The Air Force Blues have been more turf than dirt.
Okay, let's get to the pedigree part.
Go ahead.
Since you want to gloss over it. It's a Phipps pedigree. And the second dam is Smuggler, who was a daughter of Inside Information and a very talented one. I think she was 3-year-old champion filly.
She was.
There's turf in these Phipps families, but it's more of a dirt pedigree. I guess the sire side gives turf. Really, there's a story on this horse.
I didn't say a story. I was told this horse can run.
You had a tip on this horse.
Yeah, I had a tip. I didn't get a huge story, but I was told this horse could run a little bit.
Okay. I'm going to guess they'll need to run a little bit to beat both halves of the entry in here. McCulloch is a horse named after somebody that Chad Brown was very close to, who passed away, unfortunately. And condolences to them. And I think Chad wanted to name this horse, and hopefully you do that. You hope that you found the right horse. And it's interesting with the horse being sired by Frankel. Consumer Spending was entered going short the other day and has plenty of pedigree as well, more than ready, and now stretching out. I think, see how that one does. I think the entry is going to be very tough in here. The horse that's a little weird is the 3 Love to Run. And we'll show you that horse's workout from the Ocala sales. I don't really understand paying $640,000 for this pedigree to begin with, for a 10 2/5 work that was just seemingly okay. Having said that, obviously there were other bidders as well, paying $640,000. Why are you running this horse? While there is some turf pedigree, it's much more of a dirt family, first and second. Why is this horse debuting on the grass? There's an Artemis Agritera for Mark Cassie that worked a very good 10 flat that's in on Thursday, that's entered on the turf. Why are these horses entering the turf to begin their careers? It's very odd.
And this horse has
some purchase price in this horse.
Some purchase price. And this horse, you know, again, we talk about the workouts in the black and white we see. We don't know, but how they're actually working. She worked 46-4 at Keeneland out of the gate. You know what I mean?
They all work fast at Keeneland.
Right, I understand that. But she came up here and she's worked pretty nicely time-wise on the dirt as well.
I don't understand why this horse is
this is just strange.
Turf or dirt race. I don't quite understand it. I am curious to see that one does. But I think the Chad Brown Clarvich entry will be very
could
short.
this be, Andy, could this be a simple,
maybe
we need to get her a route of ground? She's not going to sprint? I don't know.
I find that to be an odd way that trainers put it. We're running 7 furlong dirt maiden races here. That is a long way to go for a 2-year-old in the middle or early August.
I don't disagree.
They're not ready to go a mile and an eighth anyway, so I don't buy that excuse. I really don't.
Start her up here, get her ready for Keeneland. I don't know.
I don't know. It just seems very odd. It's a lot of money to pay for these horses. They have stronger dirt pedigrees.
A lot of money to play.
And a number of times they seem to show up in grass races. We'll see how it plays out for this horse today and going forward. But I did put her second because I think she's potentially dangerous.
Okay.
Race number 3 is brought to you by Saratoga Waters.
Yes, it is.
Our friend Adam Madcorn, his wife Carol Madcorn of Saratoga Waters, supporters of ours. Have you be dancing. Jose Ortiz picks up the mount. As we show the replay of the last race, finishing 3rd, she wasn't beating Uncle's Gem, who returns on Thursday, but it was kind of a wild, aggressive run up the inside here, and I was kind of hoping that today maybe she found her friends.
Yes, she gets a ride to change to Jose Ortiz, and perhaps that'll help the cause. And yeah, she may have finally found the right bunch. And with the right kind of trip and ride, I think she's supposed to get the money today.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that she has this gigantic advantage. You know, that 68 buyer she earned 2 back behind Get the Candy. I don't know. Get the Candy's an AE in that race I mentioned with Uncle's Gem. I don't know. It figure seemed a little on the high side, though I thought she actually ran a lot better than it looks last time out. And I'm scared of Cosmat on the rail in here. You know, you look at Comsat, this horse is not a miler. This is a turf sprinter, and this horse was involved in the fast pace and arguably ran the best race of anybody behind the talented Runaway Rumor and ahead of Crisa LaRote in that start. And I think returning to sprint is going to really help Comsat. I could have gone 1-4. I went 4-1. Hoping it works out for Adam today.
Okay.
Anybody else? You've got the 6th.
I like, no pain. I thought improved from the first start with blinkers off the layoff to the second last time out. Right behind you, you should be dancing. And I'm looking for those two to just move forward through the maiden
Ray
ranks.
Handel's been having a good meet. Not good enough to buy Anthony and I that dinner he promised, but a good meet nonetheless.
Nope, correct.
Ray, once again.
You make a great point, Andy.
Once again, we would just prefer the cash. Race number 4. Race number 4. Why do you like Harper's in charge?
So Harper's in charge
Harper?
with a huge maiden win in the at Aqueduct back in the fall. She comes back off 8 months and runs into the Longines Test winner and actually got in front of her last time. She's not going to have to deal with Bella Sofia today. Here she is breaking the maiden. She won very easily, Andy. I know she did not beat much when she broke her maiden, if we're being completely honest, but she certainly did it the right way.
Are we ever anything but completely honest up here? What are you suggesting?
I'm sometimes you don't like to disparage
well, to be fair,
the competition.
Command and Control, who finished second here, actually ran a 68 buyer here just the other day and finishing second. So it's actually not clear that those she beat were just absolutely atrocious. And she ran, and that was a fair racetrack. And as you say, she ran to Bella Sofia. So I think she's very, very logical in this race. What about, is it Sambla Just?
Yeah.
That's how you would pronounce it? I thought this horse ran well last time.
I did too. It took this horse a few starts. This horse was pretty obvious now. Was just on the wrong surface.
This was running on the wrong surface, right?
Just running on the wrong surface. The one sprint race was actually pretty good. I don't know why this horse was moved to the turf, but she was, and she got back to the main track. You know what my biggest problem with her is?
What is your biggest problem
She
with
got
her,
a
Anthony?
pretty easy setup last time, right? She just kind of sat off a dawdling pace, made the lead, and got the job done.
I don't disagree.
I wonder if cutting back from the mile to 6.
Well, I like that.
You like it? You see?
Because I know you have distance issues. I get it.
No, I'm just
you don't
saying,
have her in the top 4?
I don't.
Really? Can I bet you that she beats Awesome Indra?
No.
Okay, so you don't really not like her. You just pretending not to.
Well,
you had to include Eddie Barker. Eddie.
No, I just felt like
Don't
the other
cry, Eddie.
fillies.
He has your
I just
third.
felt like
I
the
know.
other fillies are more of a sprint type. You know, Kenny McPeak not only ran this horse on the turf, but this horse ran one race at 7, and everything else has been in a mile or beyond. So maybe he was completely wrong about her.
Well, he's been completely wrong about much of her career,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure you want to cut him that much slack.
Perhaps.
And the reality is 7 furlongs. As a 2-year-old, she ran about as well as she ran her last start.
Perhaps.
So I don't see any reason that she's supposed to be unusable at 6 furlongs. I don't think you're being outrageous saying 6 furlongs, but I wouldn't be overly concerned. The track has been very fair overall at this meet. What about Off We Go on the Rail for Tom Amos?
Yes, Tom Amos. This filly gets back to a dirt sprint. When last on the dirt, she tried the turf last time. She ran against Clairiere, not Le Carrière. She ran against Clairiere. She's run into some fast fillies. She ran in that Songbird. She ran into Travel Column. The fact of the
like
matter
her because
is,
she ran a race named for Songbird. Just
Exactly.
admit it. Just say it.
The fact of the matter is, she's run in 2.
No, she's
run in 3 legitimate spots.
I don't
And in
disagree.
those 3 spots, she's run well. So she looks like she's in a legitimate spot today, and I thought she made sense. Listen, I'm a little chalky
I
in
have
here.
to agree with you. I'm just teasing you. I agree. I think she's definitely dangerous this race. I actually considered putting her on top, but honestly, I don't want to pick Amos's horses. You know, I root against them, so why would I want to put them on top?
Exactly. It's kind of like me with Ray.
Right, exactly. You make a great point. Race number 5. Race number 5 was a tough race. Anthony made it easy. He just picked a horse that he's been picking every time it runs.
No, I haven't picked this horse. I never picked this horse.
I'm sorry, only once. That's fair.
When did I pick this horse? 2 back?
Yeah. Yep. I think the key to your horse is that he gets back to a claiming race.
To me, it was that simple. I checked the morning line because I figured this was going to be a tough race to make a line for. I don't know. I figure she'll be around that 5-1. And frankly, just getting back to the claiming ranks, there appears to be a little bit of speed in here. I thought she made a lot of sense at that price.
I think you make a great point.
That was it.
The morning line is a little. I don't agree that my horse is going to be significantly shorter than other horses in here. I don't think I'm blaming you is going to be particularly short in here, but I could be wrong. I agree with you on the one. I don't particularly like this horse because I don't like the race the horse ran in first time out. That's more of my problem. But
Okay.
I don't listen. I don't disagree. This is my infamous 5th pick, and I could have had the horse a little bit higher. There's a lot of horses to throw in here, so I didn't. I saw the race a little differently than you, and I wanted to have other horses in there, but I don't disagree. This horse is just taking the logical drop. My issue more was this horse did absolutely no running at all last time. This horse was brutal last time.
Horse was really not very good in either of the maiden special weight races. I'm just hoping she's found her friends
Particularly
again.
bad last time.
Yeah.
And that bothered me a little bit about him. As far as I'm blaming you, this horse I liked last time, not one of my more clever picks, finishing 7th. But that was a better field, and at least, she was engaging the pace, and it was a pace that just completely incinerated in the late stages. So at least he was in a position that wasn't favorable to the race flow last time out. So I don't think he ran that badly when you consider the way the race was run. Whether or not he's that good, I don't know. I felt one of the reasons I like him last year is I think he comes out of races where, particularly the debut, where the fig is irrelevant, those horses are better. And I think he showed last time that was the case. And I just think he's a logical drop-down. I don't think you have a big problem with any of that. Masked Marauder, you know, is Mass Marauder the horse to beat? I don't know. I'm starting to get a little tired of him. This is his race last time. I do think he'll appreciate the cutback, though. And I'm not sure the last race was that bad.
I'll tell you what, this horse's turf sprint.
Right. It was against so much better.
This horse's turf sprint is against two
horses. I thought
horses.
you'd pick this horse. That's why I showed the replay.
I thought about it. This horse's turf sprint, when you combine it with this race last time.
She lost to Perfect Munnings, who was just a talented horse for Todd Pletcher.
He lost to Perfect Munnings. Dancing Bucks won twice.
Was a good turf sprinter for George Weaver.
So
those were legitimate horses.
Legitimate horses, especially back then.
Beat her like a drum, though, but legit horses. Did beat the horse pretty easily.
Yeah.
But I agree.
But getting back to the turf sprint, I thought a little bit of a fuzzy in here for me was Sonic Speed. Now, Sonic Speed might not be able to run anymore. I don't know what happened in the last two. But this horse is going to get Lasix for the second time, going to run on the turf with Lasix for the first time. No, I'm just saying he's going to run on turf with Lasix for the first time.
The problem with this horse's one turf race that looks good is it wasn't. That was an extremely slow pace that both Chrome Dixie, and I bet Chrome Dixie that day, and Sonic Speed took advantage of. And the horse who actually ran well in there was Martinez, who's just sort of mediocre for Suge McGay. It might be a West Point horse, Martinez. And I thought originally I was much more interested in this horse, at least from my opinion. I just looked at that race much more and said, I think this horse has won good turf races.
That's fair enough.
Race.
Listen,
that was my problem with this horse, though. I don't think you're thinking.
You could probably leave 6 or 7 horses open in here, right?
Yeah, Tempesta actually ran very well last time.
Yeah,
for my money, I mean, that was a quick pace. This horse was forcing it from the inside, taken down or not. This horse, you know, actually did some real running in there. And once again, Bobogram was the speed in there as well. And you've left Rob Massiala. You're offending friends left and right here.
There's a lot.
You don't need Rob up here. You got Louis.
There's a lot.
You don't need Rob.
There's a lot of speed in here.
You know, if you were, you would have Bobogram in here. If you didn't have Louis to feed you, if you didn't have Louis to feed you every night, you'd need Rob for that food and grappa. Admit it.
I'm going to find a way. I'll find a way to eat,
You're
my
mad
man.
because Rob and I are neighbors. That's why you're mad. We've had dinner a couple times, but
well, yeah. I mean, the phone hasn't rung, but that's fine.
Thankfully, we went to places where there was no grappa.
It is where it is. It is what it is. Do I have anything here? No.
You notice he didn't argue with any of that.
I didn't argue with a word of it. No, I did not.
You knew it was all true.
The Nova counts at 12.
You know how hard it is for me when I have to go 2 days without the big guy? Anyway,
I
got to go
even down a block. I'm going to be gone.
30 minutes now, 30 seconds with him out. We'll hear from Saratoga Water, but we will be right back.
Make business meetings exquisite. Make a weekend outing exquisite. Make a late night snack exquisite. Make a night on the town exquisite. For nearly 150 years, the Saratoga Spring Water Company has been producing the finest spring water available anywhere. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Wow. Oh.
We're back.
We're back. Nobody told me.
Well, your earpiece, you don't even have it in anymore.
I don't have it in anymore.
Jose told you, telepathically, he sent you a message. We are back. He's the
we
big
are back.
Race number 6. Got more tip here on Amani's image? We in Tipville? Go ahead.
No tip. I had a tough time with this race.
I can tell.
I had a tough time with this race. The Tapper going 6.5 furlongs, a lot of distance. Steve Asmussen had one of these offspring that won going 1.25 miles, I think, at Churchill Downs. So they run this filly 6.5 first time out. She's by Tappet.
More turf, in case you're interested, which may be a good sign the horse is running the dirt.
Yeah, she has the one turf breeze over at the Oklahoma.
I figured Todd and I rather the horse would be over bad. I didn't want this horse.
Okay.
I did a lot of guessing in here, too, to be honest.
1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 10. I mean, I could have thrown them all on a bingo drum. And
I think Tom Amos's horse could be okay. There's no pedigree. I think the horse has been working fairly well. And, you know, his owner, Joel Politi, of course, who owned the mighty Serengeti Empress, he's back in town. I'm trying to convince him to get a new trainer.
I was hanging out with
suggestions for Joel, how he can move on from Tom Amos?
I was hanging out with Joel, Nina, the rest of the crew. Nina answered a couple of the trivia questions at breakfast at Saratoga this morning.
By the way, you know who's the horse is an interesting, you've left completely out, is the 9 Lily Bear. And I think this is an interesting horse because it comes out of the Echo Zulu race. And the one really, really good 2-year-old we've seen was this runner from Steve Asmussen that got a 92 early in the meet. And I'll be interested to see how this horse runs, just as a barometer a little bit. And this horse ran fine, by the way, for Phil Glee's first time out. And I think because it's Phil and Dylan Davis, probably going to be a bigger price than it should be, to be honest with you. And this horse ran okay last time. I like Popular Vote. Didn't you think this was a Seth Klarman, a Klarvish horse when you first saw the name? I know. I was thinking that too. It's not. It's J. Foxwoods. I wanted to show the replay. This horse was, I thought, exceedingly, I don't know if green is the right word, broke about a half length slow. I figured it's only a minute and 5 seconds. You can watch. And I like the fact this horse ran up. And I know some people will say, well, she ran up, but then when the running was being done, she had nothing. Well, these are 2-year-old firsters. And, you know, they often...
That's a tough crowd if you're thinking after an incident like that, they're supposed to continue on.
There's more. There's more.
I mean, really. Even you're willing to give her the benefit of the doubt on this one. If there are people out there really disparaging this effort.
Well, it wasn't a fast race. You have to be careful. It wasn't a particularly fast race.
But Andy, look at all the trouble she's getting herself into.
I'm aware of it. Throwing her head.
Yeah.
She may have been a horse that wasn't particularly ready to run first time either.
That's true, too.
And the second place finisher did come back and run 10 higher points higher. So I thought she was an interesting alternative. And she and the 9 both seem okay to me. And I'm going to leave in Fabulous Fanny from Steve Asmussen. We saw a nice winner from him yesterday as he tied that record. Set the record, excuse me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go 1 and 10 here with a firster and a little Asmussen. By the way, stakes yesterday. Knicks Go was terrific.
Fantastic.
Bella Sophia was terrific. I thought we saw really nice performances by them. And Knicks Go, I think, solidified his position as the leading older horse in the country, coming here and doing it, answering the question without Lasix, setting an honest pace. Though it's funny, and he did set an honest pace, but I was at dinner with some people last night, and we were talking about commentator and how he set those fractions alike. And people actually said the race, he had everything his own way in the front end. He went 23, 46, 109, and 3 and beat St. Liam.
That would have been a fun race, huh?
He would have been 8 in front of Knicks Go. He would have been 8 in front of him.
You hang out with a tough crowd, man. You hang out with a tough crowd.
With all due respect to Knicks Go, and I think his connection to the good commentator would have blown him off the racetrack.
The good commentator would have blown a lot of...
Could have beaten Ghost Zapper.
Let's not get carried away now, but yes, he was a very, very good horse.
Incorrect. The could give Ghost Zapper a run.
The good commentator against the good Ghost Zapper?
Yeah, could give him a run for his money. They both ran very, very similar figures. Commentator ran 4 buyer figures in the low 120s.
I remember.
The commentator was in absolute terror. He was just an unsound horse.
Yes. But he was a good horse. Yeah, like I said, I could go 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 10. You mentioned the 9. There's a wide open race. It was some guesswork, yeah.
Hopefully we'll start seeing some stronger fillies and colt 2-year-olds as we move along. The stakes portion of the card kicks off in race number 7. The Fasig-Tipton De La Rose, and once again, the Fasig-Tipton auctions are starting tomorrow. 2 nights of those. New York Breds next weekend. No more fun evening of entertainment than going to the Saratoga Auctions across the street. If you're in town, head over. I guarantee a good time.
Wise man said it's the biggest bar. The biggest bar in Saratoga.
It's the biggest bar in town. Best bar you'll ever go to. And it's a lot of fun. Bring the kids. It doesn't have to be a bar. Look at the horses, see the horses, mingle with some people. No, Anthony won't be there. It's a lot of reasons to head over there. Anthony has been waiting for the return of Viadera.
I have, since I got my picture from Midsummer from you.
What are their 2 names? The guy's waiting for Godot? Seriously?
I don't remember. Andy.
Vladimir's one of them, right?
Vladimir. I have no clue.
Waiting for Godot? Really?
Rob Massiello just told me we'll get dinner this week.
Rob, don't buy him dinner. The guy has turned his back on you.
Mean, really.
I am your true
friend. Look at my girl right here, hitting the hole, and Joelle.
And making herself the 17th straight horse that has dealt a heartbreaking defeat to Blowout.
Blowout. Well, no, she was actually 16th because she did it twice. She got her back-to-back races. Man, she knows where that wire is.
Anthony loves her.
Go
ahead.
She's my favorite horse in training.
Really?
Viadera is my favorite horse in training. Yeah, I love Viadera. It helps that caught her all 3 times last year. But you know, when Chad ran her against Newspaper of Record right away in the Intercontinental, I kind of felt like she was going to be a nice filly. And 3 consecutive races in a mile, 3 different courses. She takes her track with her.
Well,
there's a lot to like about her.
Let me now. talk about her actual races. It's Vladimir and Estragon, by the way. But you should have known that.
I'm not.
You've never seen Waiting for Godot?
I have no idea.
Do you know I once saw it with Steve Martin and Robin Williams in a small theater in the city?
I do now, Andy.
It was pretty funny.
I do now.
I'm sorry. You have a problem? What does it say?
This guy.
Well, what? Suddenly you want to talk about horse racing? You very rarely want to talk about horse racing at all.
Of course
Suddenly
I do.
you want to talk about horse racing.
Of course
okay,
I do.
the thing about Viadera, and I'm not knocking her. She was very good. But I'm going to say two things about her that are actually factually correct. She was a horse that Chad Brown did a remarkable job because she really wasn't much horse over in Europe. And these are the kind of horses that catch lightning in the bottle a little bit. And she was supposed to come back at Belmont, and she got rained off. But she still was coming back fairly late. And she also got unbelievably great trips in her races. The race we just showed was her best race. But she got incredible trips because not only did she save ground, did she not have any traffic trouble, but she got fast pace after fast pace in her turf races. Bang. She's not getting a fast pace in this race, dude.
No, she's not. No, she's not.
And she's going to be a very short price based on accomplishment. And she may be the horse to beat, but I dramatically prefer the other Chad Brown horse in here, Regal Glory. And we'll show
she didn't
her
really
winning.
get a fast pace in the De La Rose last year.
She got a dream trip in that race,
Okay.
Anthony. An absolutely dream trip in there. And I believe the other horse was better. She was very fortunate in there. She's been fortunate in her races. Whereas Regal Glory, in my opinion, has really started to blossom as a 5-year-old. And she started to put it together late last year. You're forgetting that she's a horse. If she hadn't blown the break, she would have been very close to the Justa game. And I think we saw how good the two fillies in the Justa game are in the Diana.
Sure.
And she's not a speed, but you have to imagine she's going to be more forward than Viadera.
Yes.
And she's going to be a much better price. So I think that they both can win, but I really do prefer Regal Glory today. And I think you're a little bit tainted by your mad love for Viadera. And I know you bet her last year and you made money with her, and that's all good and fine. But I don't really think that she necessarily is a better horse than Regal Glory. And Regal Glory has recency, which she doesn't.
She has run well fresh, though. Not this fresh.
She was good last year, is what she was.
But there's no reason. There's no reason. And we've seen.
These horses that they get it going 1 year, they're not the same horse.
But
when
there's
they come
also
back
horses
next year.
that, Sister Charlie, when she turned 5, she got better.
And when she turned 6, she got worse.
That's fine, but she's turning 5 now.
I didn't, Anthony, you're going to say based on age. It's a concept.
Yeah, I understand
it's
a concept.
Conceptual idea that's valid.
But it also wasn't like she was running.
I'm not dramatically against Viadera, but I think aside from you waxing poetic about her, there's actually handicapping discussions to be had. I know you only want to talk about horses suddenly.
No. What I want to talk about is the fact that the filly you picked has run 2 races this year. They are comparable to the races she ran.
Farm, by the way.
I don't know what it is. The filly you picked has run 2 races comparable to her numbers last year.
Yeah, and she's done it this year.
And she's done it this year.
And Viadera hasn't.
But her best figures can't beat Viadera's last 2 races.
Well, hang on a second.
I guess they could, but now
Viadera might have gotten one of the greatest trips in the history of horse racing to back.
But now
and Blowout should have beaten her by 3 lengths.
We're also going to assume, this is assuming that she doesn't mature and get better.
Anthony, she's not maturing and getting better at 5.
No,
you know
that's
that,
impossible. That could never happen, right?
You know that, and
that's impossible.
You know
to
that,
happen.
and I know
Okay.
that. That's just silly.
Okay.
And,
it's not silly for you. Just said, as a 5-year-old, Regal Glory has
she's
gotten
already
better.
shown that she's done it. Viadera isn't getting better from last year's form. The likelihood of that is about 100 to 1.
Okay.
You know, seriously.
Okay.
I mean, well, Value Proposition was going to run his big race yesterday. Are you going to blame the shoes?
No.
Okay. You have Hendy Woods second.
Yeah, Hendy Woods, miler. She loves the mile. I wanted to try to split the chance. See, I feel like Regal Glory's probably going to be a little closer.
Don't you want the speed? Don't you want the speed if you're trying to?
I don't think it's going to be fast, but I think there's going to be a few horses mixing it up.
No,
I would imagine
that's not going to happen.
I would imagine Shifty She is going to be forwardly
She
placed.
may go. I think Raven's Cry will be in
Star
front.
Command. Raven's Cry has some speed.
Star Command has absolutely no speed.
I would think the 2 and the 5 with maybe a little 4. And then Regal Glory's.
The 5 should be in front of the 2 and 4. I agree. Mixing it up. They mix it up around here. You know what was great? watching the European riders ride aggressively yesterday in the Saratoga Derby. It's like they've been watching our races and they realize we play snatch and grab here. It was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was funny that the most aggressive riders
I
in
don't like going
yesterday's
after our
Saratoga
guys,
Derby
but it
were the European. It didn't
The
work
most-
for them.
the most
By the way, John Velasquez took advantage of all of it and won the race, so we got the last laugh.
The most
but
complacent
it was funny.
assemblage of jockeys in the
It
world.
really was. Flavian,
Shoving on horses.
Flavian Prats figured it out. He came here. He put
Shoving on
what's the horse Flavius on the lead.
Yep.
Flavian and Flavius. We didn't even notice that. Race number 8 is the Adirondack. It's good running of the Adirondack, by the way. The 2-year-old fillies continue to show that as a group, they're better than the boys. The fastest 2-year-old maiden we've seen so far,
Yeah.
and these are better. We'll take a look at the debutante. So I think the question, the debutante, and it's a valid question, is who ran the better race between on the 1s and 2s and the 7, Wicked Halo. Wicked Halo was cutting it out in the front end and held on gamely, whereas on the 1s and 2s made a sort of crazy wide run in here. I thought she ran the better race, but I think it's close.
I thought Wicked Halo ran the better race because she was involved in she was going fast up front, man. She was going real fast up front. Yeah, I'm kind of splitting hairs, right? They both ran really well.
I think it's an interesting
different
discussion.
races.
Yeah, I think it's a, one horse, because it's not as though on the 1s and 2s, sort of came from 10 behind and just sort of was picking up pieces. She was relatively close, made a big run. And people have to realize, I know you see that 21 quarter, and I'm not denying it was fast, but with the long run-up at Churchill Downs in the 6 furlong races, you see much faster fractions. So that's a 21-2, 21-3, which is still very quick. I'm not denying it, but keep it in perspective.
Yeah, and she does figure to be in front in here again.
You would think so.
I would imagine she's going to be going to the lead with Jose Ortiz again. She's got to get 6.5, and yeah, I mean, I liked her race last time. I like the fact that she kind of stayed on. She didn't like drop off the cliff when she stopped. She ran on.
I completely agree with you. She ran great.
So,
I agree. They both ran very well.
Yeah, I wanted to come back with her.
Yeah,
today.
I was sort of flipping coins.
Yeah.
I like Norm Cassie, so I picked him. But I kind of thought she ran a little better. I thought she's got to learn to break, though. And the other thing is,
eventually it's going to, I mean, you could say it caught up to with her last time, and eventually it's, the water's going to continue to get deeper, and that's going to become a much bigger problem.
Getting left in stake races is bad.
Very, very difficult
By
to
the way,
overcome that.
can I just digress for one moment? I thought Swiss Skydiver ran very well yesterday.
So did I.
I'm not saying she absolutely ran the second best race, but at least she was the one who tried the
with
winner.
everything that she had to endure the last 4 or 5 months.
Given what she's been through.
And the fact that she put a little sting into Nick's go going into that first turn.
And she made the move during the second turn. I thought she ran well yesterday. If you're a fan of Swiss Skydiver, I think you should be encouraged.
I hope
her next start's
I
going to
hope
be
the
good.
3 weeks back in the personal ensign isn't too
What if she
quick.
waits 4 weeks and goes in the jockey?
That's what I would do.
I think
if you're willing to try Nick's going 9, I think you have to run her with an extra week.
We're throwing little non sequiturs in. We'll talk about it after the card if we have time. Let's talk about your second choice, Mainstay, who I put 5th. I had to put Amos in here somewhere. I just couldn't listen to the guy cry. It's just embarrassing. I don't know what to do with her, but you know what? She's got to deal with other speed in here. And I just think that this is a better bunch of horses than the ones that ran the Schuylerville, Anthony.
She kind of had a little bit of a stutter step at the break last time.
But she was second best.
She was second best.
Little green.
She's going to get a big rider upgrade to Joel Rosario in here.
I agree. But I don't think that Frankie Pennington did anything particularly wrong with her.
We're allowed, and I'm not saying this, but people say this to me all the time. We're allowed to, they could be mutually exclusive. I don't think he did anything wrong.
He's just a better rider.
But she's still getting a major rider upgrade to Joel Rosario.
Joel Rosario is one of the best riders in the world.
Right. She's drawn outside of that. She's drawn outside of pretty much a bulk of the other speed. And, given a clean break, a little bit of an upgrade. Yeah, she was a little green last time. I think she's...
You're interrupting Colleen.
I think she's a little dangerous.
Important conversation.
I think she's a little dangerous.
I'm going to take a negative. I don't love the Schuylerville, but I don't think your argument's invalid at all. What about Microbiome?
That was a good debut.
It was. It really was.
Really good debut.
But the water's getting a lot deeper, as does the speed.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to have to deal with, she's going to have to chase. She's going to have to rate. She's not going to be able to get in front of Wicked Halo based on Wicked Halo's first 2 races, unless they're on a dead send. I can't imagine that's happening. And that's
well, she draws outside, which benefits her. But you are talking about a debut winner that was able to control, and I'm not knocking her. She ran very well.
She ran great. She just kept on going.
And listen, I'd love to see her win for Tom and Joel. All kidding aside,
yeah, of course.
And this is an important race for her. It's a tough spot, but it's also the right spot because you're going to learn a lot about her because she's got another serious speed to deal with, and she's going to have to move forward at some point and find out, is she a Saratoga maiden breaker that's going to be good enough to move forward in the big races, or is she not quite good enough? And, you know, I think you'll find out a lot. What about the 4, She's a Wild Joker, for our friend Dave Donk?
She was gutsy in her win. She
November Rain ran much better than her next start.
November Rain came back, broke her maiden in a big race. Yeah,
Did you know that nobody on the show knew that November Rain was what the name came from? But that's another discussion.
Nobody knew it was a Guns N' Roses song?
I don't know.
What?
Anthony, you see what I'm up against? At least with you, you know,
wow.
I have another sick individual. Look at Tom Amos, all dressed up over there.
Oh, yeah.
Got the whole family there.
You know, Andy, nothing lasts forever, even cold November Rain.
I saw Guns N' Roses play that in concert at the Garden, actually, in 1991.
The Appetite for Destruction tour.
I think it was like a final big tour or something, right?
Sure it was.
Soundgarden warmed up.
Wow.
Yep.
Black Hole Sun. Great song.
Yep. Race number 9. Number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9.
We agree. Shocker.
I forgot to look something up. So I'm going to look it up while we talk about the replay for this race. Who do you like out of this race, if anybody? The Belmont Oaks.
I want Higher Truth. I want Higher Truth. Now, I know it looks like Higher Truth got the best setup. She probably did. I don't know how comfortable she was down there, be honest with you.
You want the horse that was on the slow pace, saving ground the whole way?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, I want the horse that was wide trying to close into it the entire race, and that's Gam's Mission.
I'm sure. Okay. Yeah, I mean.
Why wouldn't you want the horse that was wider and against the flow and only lost by a length and a half? And is probably going to be a better price.
Yeah, I don't know about that. You might be right.
Okay, I'll bet you whatever you want. The one's a shorter price than the 3.
I'm not going to bet it, but I'm saying I think a lot of people are going to side with your argument, and here's where you can lose that bet.
I have to look something up for the show.
Where you can lose the bet is the rider change. Luis Saez is climbing aboard Gam's Mission now. He's your leading rider right now.
Once again,
he is.
You're welcome to bet it with me if you want.
You know what? I'm going to take a lunch.
Okay, a lunch. I will say the 1 is.
I'll say the 1 is
shorter.
Lunch. I talked myself into that just now.
Shorter than 3.
I talked myself into that just now.
Because you know they never bet Chad Brown. He never.
Listen. But here's where you can lose that. They have another Chad Brown they can bet in here.
They do. They do have another Chad Brown they can bet here. Would you like to talk about the other Chad Brown that they can bet?
Well, they can. Rocky Sky now. I've heard many, many good things about Rocky Sky coming over here. A 1.25-mile winner already. I haven't seen this horse since April.
Wait a second.
I
didn't send in Rocky Sky's race. Oh, I had to watch it on Naira Bets because it wasn't on YouTube. Go ahead. I apologize. You didn't watch the race, but I'll talk about it.
She was a huge price. More often than not, we don't see these come over for Chad. More often than not, they're better meant. Quite frankly, better bred horses that come over. But this filly ran. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The Charlie Appleby horse, and you'll talk more about Rocky Sky, the Charlie Appleby horses and the Godolphin horses that have come over, namely the 2 fillies from the Just a Game of the Diana, they've been tough as well. I don't think
let's talk about Rocky Sky. Rocky Sky. Rocky Sky's last race was extremely visually impressive. And if you're a member of Naira Bets, go back to April 25th and watch. I think it's around the 4th or 5th race somewhere in there. It's a big field. I mean, Rocky Sky absolutely crushed this field. When I'm trying to look up on my phone, and I apologize because I got busy this morning and forgot, there was somebody in that race that she crushed that was in the Creative Flair race. That's what I was trying to talk about.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was trying to talk about. I got to look it up. I'll try to put it on Twitter or something. You can look it up through Racing Post. Racing Post, by the way, is a great resource if you actually want to do the work on the Europeans. It's almost got a little formulator feel. You get the fields they ran against. You can look up the horses. You can see where they ran in subsequent or prior races and get an idea of what kind of horses they ran against. And, I mean, Rocky Sky just annihilated this field. And the other thing about Rocky Sky is not slow. She went to the lead and just, I mean, I'm not comparing her to the horse Frankel, who's obviously one of the greatest horses in the history of horse racing. But it was that kind of performance in that she just blew out to like a 5-length lead and just kept, increased basically. And you don't really see that.
It's also her turf debut. She had run on synthetics the first 3 times. So, yeah, I mean, it makes it even that much more impressive.
No, she was extremely. Now, did we show the replay of Creative Flair while I was? We did.
We did. Yeah.
I thought she ran pretty well. The horse who was second here was 4th in the Grade 1 next time out.
Here she is.
I mean, to me, these are just the 2 horses I want. I just think they're going to be better than the Belmont Oaks horses. I know the winner of the Belmont Oaks is a good horse, and I don't want to suggest that she isn't, because she is. But having said that, I'm not sure about the other ones.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, I want these 2, and I feel pick 4s, pick 5s. We're playing the pick 6 today. I'm using 6s and 7s and trying to get through it with the 2 euros.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do want to talk about some others from that race, and I got to figure out what I didn't look up. I'm sorry, gang. What about Joseph O'Brien, who's got the number 2 horse in this race? I mean, the reality is that he came here with a horse that didn't look on paper like he could go the distance, and, this horse doesn't look particularly good on paper.
Never won on 0-for-5 on turf. Both wins came on synthetic surfaces. Whatever you want to put into that.
The horse is too slow on figs, but this is a guy who brought a horse that didn't really look good enough on paper yesterday.
And a horse that had never been past a mile and won the mile in 3/16.
Right.
So, I don't want to say similar.
Thundering Knights should have won the New York. This guy's bringing over the right horses.
And
I think to completely dismiss him, especially at a price, might be foolish. And he is owned by American Interest, Blue Devil Racing, Mark Holliday. So you got to be rooting for that one. He's a little tough to take. She's a little tough to take based on her form, but so was yesterday's winner.
I could not agree with you more.
My general feeling in this race is I don't really want – the only horse I really want from the Belmont Oaks is Gam's Mission. I don't want Con Lima. I think had the run of the race, the slow pace. Plum Ali was probably compromised. And I think this race, the pace will be a little bit more honest.
I'll say one more thing about Plum Ali, too. There's a chance – I didn't put her on the board. I'm a fan of hers.
She'll be glad to know that.
She's 3 for 3 on firm ground, and she is winless in her 4 races with –
except the best race she ever ran was 2 back, so that's a fallacious argument.
But I maybe her overall body of work is better on firm ground.
No, it isn't, actually. But, okay.
Well, okay.
It just, you can believe it, and that's fine. But I think if you look at the races they ran.
I just don't think she's doing much running in those races, except that one race against the one race at Keeneland. I don't think she's doing much running in those other races.
You don't think she did much running 2 back in the Wonder again?
That was the only one.
Okay.
I said that.
We were going to move on. The only one, there's only 3.
There's 4.
Whatever, just silliness. But anyway, race number 10. Because I know Anthony can't resist Christophe Clement in an impossible race, I figured I'd put the horse that's not going to win the last race, the replay up there of Chrome Dixie. But hey, Anth, have at it. You can't resist Christophe Clement in a tough turf race? That's like a bang, Christophe on top.
That's how we end the week.
It's a cinch. You know it and I know it. Don't lie to me.
Andy, let me ask you. I want to ask you a question here.
Please do. I love a question.
This horse comes out of the Scacciatore race. Now, Scacciatore
yes, that's correct.
Has turned into a pretty useful turf horse. Would you not agree with that? Would you not want Scacciatore in here?
No,
I'd want as much of Scacciatore as I could get in here.
Not really.
Well, I would.
Okay.
I would.
I think Chrome Dixie
this horse stretching
drew
out.
Extremely poorly in here. I know. You're very selective on which races horses' distance matters to.
Hold on. That is the one. That's the knock. The knock is this horse has an awful draw in post 9 now after the scratch. I'm not saying that's not the knock, because it's the knock. But I think this horse, with his pedigree, is going to improve a little bit more distance.
I don't think the horse is impossible. I don't like the post. I think the horse will be a short price, and I prefer other horses. I don't think the horse is impossible. I'm mostly teasing you, but you do default to Christophe in these spots. You do.
If I'm in a coin flip or I'm in a bind.
Who are you flipping?
Yeah.
Wait a second.
No, if I'm in a bind,
I'm
listen.
sorry. You don't have Albie in your top 4 selections in this race. This horse is so much the worst to beat in this race. It's absolutely ridiculous.
That's supposed to be 10-4-9-3. I had the horse
you
fourth.
had the horse fourth. Okay.
I had the horse fourth. That's supposed to be 10-4-9-3. I apologize. You can leave it now, though. I'll just leave it the way it is. I'm good. Because I'm not over the moon about Albie.
Because looks too good on paper? Drew a good post towards the inside?
This horse beat a bad bunch of horses the last time this horse won.
This horse just lost a turn of events who you liked in a tougher field the other day who ran super.
Yeah, he
should have won.
Super.
Well, it's not making sense to me. You like turn of events.
I often don't make sense to you, Andy.
But you liked turn of events the other day. I didn't. You were dead right. I was dead wrong.
Out.
Horse was a brutal beat, and I bet the winner of the race, and you should have won.
Brutal beat.
But this horse was in a bad field.
Brutal beat.
Was in a bad field last time and lost to a horse that you liked in a tougher race. Okay. I'm just sure to make sure that I got that clear.
You got it.
Little less grappa, a little more handicapping.
I haven't had any grappa.
Well,
the guy won't take me to dinner.
You're having something. I like Perpetrate here as an upsetter. I think Perpetrate's actually kind of an interesting horse. It's funny.
No way this horse is that price, right?
I don't know what price they are, but regardless of that, it's funny. I like this horse, and I saw David Aragona picked him, and I just said, I'll read what David wrote just to see if he's something I didn't. And we had the exact same opinion. This horse raced at Pimlico 2 back, and I think I commented about it last time this horse was entered. This horse had actually run really well and would be a crazy price. Now, listen, it's not like John Kimball's getting this horse from a guy who doesn't win. The guy had 27%. And John Kimball does not have great numbers on trainer switches. It's probably one of the situations maybe just being stabled up here or something, and they're not stabled, and it went to John's mark. It's the same owners. I don't think this horse ran that badly last time with a bit of a wide trip in a race that was dominated more forward. I think he's a little interesting. I think the 3's way the horse to beat, but my horse to beat him with is the 9.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Anything else? I just want to say something quickly about Swiss Skydiver.
Okay.
I don't like the notion that people think she's a better horse at 10 furlongs. I think she's a tremendous horse from a mile to 10 furlongs.
Talked about this yesterday, right?
And I don't think that people are going to say, oh, this is the right distance. I just think she's a horse that's as good at 10 furlongs as she is at a mile.
And I kind of jumped on you talking about the Jockey Club Gold Cup. I think part of the reason I would run her in the Jockey Club Gold Cup is
extra week.
It's the extra week.
Yeah.
And that was a tough race yesterday.
Let me say something else. Are we so sure the competition, the Jockey Club Gold Cup, is going to be any tougher than running against Latruska?
No, we're not.
So maybe more money, more important race. Kenny McKeagle likes to run in these spots. He wants to run at a mile and a quarter. So
Truth of the matter is, at this point, would you rather run against Latruska at 8 or
not 8, 9?
At 9, rather, or
with a 3-week break.
With a 3-week break.
Or Maxfield at 10.
Mystic Guide, right?
Mystic Guide is on the shelf, Anthony.
Okay.
I don't know if you know what's going on in horse racing, but
No,
while you were at Nove about a month ago, he got a chip removed and was out for the year. But I know you've been busy.
I have been busy.
You're a busy guy.
Is Maxfield going to try the 10 furlongs again? Maybe.
Maybe. I think he should. I mean, I can't imagine Nick Sko's running there. Anyway, a lot of good stuff to happen at Saratoga, and you can participate in all of it by signing up with Naira Bets. Use the promo code SPA200. We will match the $200 of your initial deposit. $10,000 pick 6 split. You got to play both, Delmar and here. You hit either one, you get $4,000. You split $4,000 with anyone else that does that. And if you hit them both, you split an additional $6,000 with anybody else that does that. You got to opt in through Naira Bets. Low rollers, Jay and Ray, over by the 4-star Dave. $40 buy-in, $30 live money, $10 prize pool. And finally, Sarah Live, 1 to 6:30. FS2 for the first half hour, and then all the rest on the big one, FS1. I'll be on from 3:30 to 6:30, Xanthi. Why don't you leave? You driving down right now?
Right now.
Why?
I have.
I don't want to know here.
No, I have.
I know you have.
I'm meeting the new girlfriend's parents.
Oh, Jesus. You have no idea. Johnny I up next to reprise the scratches and changes.
Hello, racing fans, and once again, welcome to Saratoga. Mostly sunny skies, the temperature in the 80s. The main track is fast, and the turf courses are firm. And here are today's changes. In the first race, note that number 3, Seascape, will be 3 pounds over. Second race, scratch the 6, No Nanette No.